Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book loving, notebook hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of books and reading and notebooks and writing to make life better and to feel better too. You'll find episodes exploring the reading and writing life and how it can make our actual lives better. You'll get book recommendations and notebook invitations around particular themes, and you'll meet authors and special guests who'll help us take inspired action in our own daily practices. So, grab a notebook and your TBR list, and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Get Literate podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your podcast host, here with another episode that embraces our very simple theme of this show: read, write, feel better. So today I want to talk to you about my new one-word theme of the month and a kind of writing that it has sparked for me. If you know me, then you know I abandoned that yearly tradition of choosing a one-word theme for the entire year because 2020 put a stop to that. So now, ever since, I have chosen one-word themes to guide each month of my life. I read in that theme, I write in that theme, I act in that theme, I think in that theme, and I do all sorts of things to bring that theme to life, and it really works for me. Now, at this point of the year, I've chosen a word that might be unexpected. It might not seem very timely with the calendar. It might not seem like a typical Get Literate, Stephanie Affinito kind of theme, but I believe it is. If you've been following along with my weekly literate love letters on Substack, then you know this time of year has been a very big time of transition for me. My daughter has gone away to college for the first time, which is a huge renegotiation of everything. My oldest son is getting ready to graduate from college and figure out what comes next for him, and that's a huge renegotiation. And my youngest son is starting college as well, but a little bit closer to home, navigating sports, navigating a job, and we're all just kind of navigating these ups and downs of what our days look like, what we want them to look like, what our life looks like. There's a lot of renegotiation of a lot of things. And part of that renegotiation is time, right? How much time do we have? How do we want to spend our time? How is our time changing? And as a result of these ups and downs that are happening in this time of renegotiation, I have settled on a one-word theme that at first might feel unexpected, but I believe is absolutely perfect for me in this time of year, and I think could be perfect for a lot of us as well. Here's what it is: solitude. My one-word theme for September of 2025 is solitude. Now, I do not want to conjure up negative images of what solitude might be, right? So if I say solitude, you might think of loneliness, of aloneness, of being by myself, of being sad, of being depressed during this, oh my gosh, your kids are out of the house more kind of time. And that is not the kind of definition that I have around my one-word theme of solitude. Not at all. I am borrowing Paulo Coelho, I hope I'm saying his name right, um, his definition of solitude, and it is this, and it's really good. Solitude is not the absence of company, but the moment when our soul is free to speak to us and help us decide what to do with our life. Let me read it again. Solitude is not the absence of company, but the moment when our soul is free to speak to us and help us decide what to do with our life. Isn't that just the perfect word for a renegotiation of time, a renegotiation of family transitions, a renegotiation of what life used to be like, and now at the cusp of September has turned into something else. So this time of solitude is a time to reflect, It's a time to give ourselves the space to figure out what we want to learn and what we want to grow, right? And lucky for us, reading and writing are perfect activities for solitude. But there's one particular form of writing that I think is perfect to embrace this idea of solitude, to get quiet with ourselves, to listen to our inner voice and figure out what we want next. And that particular form of restorative writing that I want to share to you with you today, that I want to challenge you to think about how you use it in your own life, especially if you'd like to embrace this idea of solitude with me, is restorative list making. Restorative list making. I say the word list making and I just get happy. I love myself a good list. I love crossing stuff off of the list. It is just its own special kind of high. But there is a particular reason that I think restorative list making is ideal for a lot of us. It's ideal for this time of year, and it's ideal for my one word theme of solitude. Now, if you've listened to past episodes, you know that I think there are six, but now I'm going to say seven different kinds of restorative writing that can make us feel better. We can have productive writing that helps us unload some cognitive stress. We can have reflective writing that helps us get clarity and think forward and make plans. We can have responsive writing where some sort of spark in the world, whether it's a book, a piece of media, or a movie, a snippet of conversation overheard, that can spark our thinking. There's creative writing that has all sorts of restorative benefits to it, and just getting more creative with the writing we put on the page. There's also commemorative writing, the kind of writing where we are writing to hold on to our memories. And I also think there's another type of writing that's called affirmative writing. That's the kind of writing that helps us change our mindset for the better. It helps us think good thoughts and therefore change the energy in what we bring into our lives. I think there are particular kinds of writing that restore our body, our mind, and our spirit. List making, I think, cuts across all of them. No matter what your reason for coming to writing is, cognitive unloading, getting clarity, hanging on to memories, getting more creative, responding to something in the world, list making is one format that can do all of those things. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, the act of restorative list making. If you're already a lister, then you're going to love this episode. If you are not a lister, if you don't regularly make to-do lists, if you do not list in your journal and you are completely freehand, then hopefully this episode will give you something different to think about to try in your own practice. So, why is list making so restorative? Well, how about I give you a list? Haha, pun intended. There's a couple of reasons that I think list making is a particularly powerful form of restorative writing. And the first is that it's an easy point of entry. When you open up a notebook and you see a brand new gleaming page, it can be overwhelming. What do I write about? Where do I start? What if I mess up? What if it's not good enough? All of those questions can flood our head when we are presented with a brand new notebook page to fill. But list making is an easy point of entry. It's not as overwhelming to create a list as it might be to fill an entire blank page. It's easier to figure out where to start by starting with a simple list of three or four bullets than it is to decide where to write a couple of pages in your morning page journal. So, list making is an easy point of entry. It's not overwhelming, it's easy to figure out where to start, and it gets our pen to paper. Now, on top of that, next up in my list of restorative reasons that list making is so good for us is that it fills the page quickly, right? Creating a list, at least for me, it's a dopamine hit, right? You can have a listing session where whether you're listing a to-do list or listing a bucket list or listing a list of memories, whatever that list is, you fill the page rather quickly, at least faster than you would if you are writing in a typical narrative way. And there's something that feels so good and so accomplishing about filling a page, or at least taking up a good bunch of space on the page. I swear, it feels like the same kind of dopamine hit when you're scrolling and you're scrolling, scrolling, and scrolling. It shows our brain is responding. List making, I feel like, does the same thing in an analog kind of world. It just helps us fill that page quickly and feel that sense of accomplishment that we have done the writing that we wanted to do. Now, I also think that listing is quite effective, no matter what you are after, as I mentioned. It could be the cognitive unloading of a to-do list or a mind dump. It could be seeking clarity and visioning around a reflective kind of prompt. It could be keeping memories that you want to hold on to in a commemorative kind of list. Whatever your purpose is, listing can do it. Listing can do it. But it also has particular importance in calming the chaos and sparking joy, right? Because a good old-fashioned to-do list where you just dump everything out, that is such a relief to the mind when you get it off your mind and heart and you put it down on paper. It's an instant mental health booster. Creating a gratitude list or a list of small joys, also an instant mental health booster. So, listing in just a short period of time with a short piece of text can be quite effective. And lastly, one benefit I think is worth mentioning is that lists keep the pencil moving. You start at the top of a page and you're just writing in a list format, you can just keep going and going and going. And since you're not moving all the way across the page, typically in a list, you're moving maybe halfway across the page, if that, your pencil is continually and quickly moving from left to right, return sweep, left to right, sweep, left, right, sweep, left, right, sweep, right? And it is that left, right, sweep movement of our hand, of our eyes, that actually has the meditative calming effect on our nervous system. So listing can get us into that state faster because we are doing that repetitive left to right motion. So that's why list making can make us feel better truly in the moment with just a couple of minutes. We're in that meditative state. It's an easy point of entry. We're filling that page quickly and feeling good about it. And what we're doing typically works really well in a quick list. So, how do you get started? You know the benefits of listing. You want to start bringing more listing into your notebooking or your journaling or your writing practice. Well, it's pretty easy, right? So, list making is an easy point of entry. It's also an easy practice to gear up for. You just need a piece of paper, and that could be from a standard size notebook or a smaller notebook. It could be from a traveler's journal. It could be a sticky note. It could be an index card. It could be a whiteboard. It can be any kind of medium you want, along with a pencil that matches that medium, or perhaps a dry erase marker that matches that medium. So the materials are not a barrier to getting started. It could be the back of an envelope of the junk mail that came in the mail yesterday. I have put so many brain dumps on the back of envelopes. And you only need a couple of minutes to get started. 3 to 5 minutes is all you need in order to start to get those benefits of restorative list making. In fact, if you're listening to this in real time, this past Saturday, I got up, I had my cup of coffee, and I had 2 cups of coffee, and I did some list making. In this theme of solitude, I'm thinking about a lot of things, right? What do I want to accomplish in this month where I'm finding I have more time to myself? How do I want to renegotiate and navigate these changing relationships? How do I want to feel at the end of the month now that I don't have to, and it probably wouldn't be so welcome to put as much energy into my kids as I used to. All of those things are swirling around in my head. And for me, the easiest way to make sense of those swirls is to start listing. So on that Saturday, I made three particular lists in just a couple of minutes. One I titled All the Things List. And it literally was a list of things that I have been wanting to do inside and outside of my home for a long time that I have put off or that I have procrastinated on, or I have just plain old ignored. I sat down with my piece of paper, my pencil, and my coffee. I mentally went from room to room to room in the house. And then I went outside and I walked around the house mentally in a 360 and went inside each of my sheds and each side, the pool area, and mentally did all of those things and ended up with a really, really long list of things that I wanted to do. I'm talking two columns on this page, but it felt good to just get them out. I struggle with decision fatigue. When I have a couple of moments free, if I have to decide what to do, my default is to just go back to work and do something on the list. And I did not want to do that. So now, when I am ready and I have a brief moment of time, I can just pull out all the things list, choose one, and have at it. I also made a list for work and my professional life. It's September. It's the new year, technically, right? Lots of us, celebrate September as even more important than a new year in January because it's a new school year and it's a fresh start. And so I made a list of things to do and things to look forward to and things to accomplish in both my work and outside professional life, including this podcast, my other Kid Lit Love podcast, and some offerings I hope to put out into the world. And then I made a personal list, right? So if we think of that definition of solitude, right? It's the moment when our soul is free to speak to us and help us decide what to do with our life. So I made a couple of personal lists, things that I wanted to get back to that I had abandoned, hobbies I wanted to try again, events I wanted to attend, friends I wanted to reconnect with, self-care things that I have put off but didn't want to put off anymore. I made that list too. Now, as you're listening to this, some of those lists might be resonating with you. You might need one or two or all three of those lists as well. But the idea is that you need to choose a list that is right for you. And so that depends on you. It depends on who you are, where you are in your life, what season of life you're in, what calendar season you are listening to this episode, how you currently feel, how you want to feel. There are lots of factors that go into it, but chances are, as you think about the kinds of listing that you know would make you feel better, I bet a couple might spring to mind. And those are the ones that you should go with. But I do want to give you a couple of suggestions beyond the ones that I just shared in my own personal listing practice. So, if you right now in this season are just desperate to get rid of some overwhelm that you are feeling, then I suggest your list might be a brain dump of everything on your mind that is overwhelming you. I suggest your list might be a project list. If you're working on a project or have some projects coming up and you're worried about all of the things that you're juggling, write them all down. All of the things that you have to get in order, all of the ducks that you have to get in a row, all of the T's you have to cross and the I's you have to dot, and just list them all out like I did in my work and professional list. Or maybe you just get out a sticky note and you do a good old-fashioned to-do list, a to-do list for the day, a to-do list for the week, and maybe even a to-do list for the month that we are in. It might feel overwhelming to do that, but once it's on the paper, it's off of your mind, off of your heart, out of your body, and therefore you can use that energy in better ways. Now, what if you're looking to ground yourself in this particular season? You want to get more settled, you want to feel calmer, you want to feel more centered, then I suggest a gratitude list. Things that you're grateful for. Not the big, grand things, but those little teeny tiny things in the day-to-day moment that you are grateful for that happened within the last 24 hours and are really specific to train your brain to focus on the present and the good that is surrounding you. You know, it might also make a list of things you notice. This is a really powerful and popular way to help people get grounded in their present moment and release anxiety. It's just to notice and make lists of the things that you notice around you as they relate to your senses. Or maybe you create a list of tiny joys. Those little things that you love that make you happy for no reason at all, that when you make the list and look at the list, it grounds you in what matters most to you. Now, what if you're looking for personal growth in this season of September? For you, I might suggest a list of thoughts to finally let go of. What are those limiting beliefs? What are those negative self-talk phrases that you say to yourself all the time? Write them down and then cross them out and let them go. Maybe you need a to-do list, right? Instead of a to-do list, you need a to-do list. And you need to just think about a particular aspect of your life and list all of the things that have gone well and the progress that you have made so that you can celebrate those little milestones along the way. And then another list could be a futuring list. What could come next for you? What might come next for you? What little nudges and whisperings are you hearing that you want to dive into and get curious about in this theme of solitude, where you're trying to figure out what your soul is telling you? Now, another thing you might be feeling right now, like me, is holding on, right? Yes, we need to let go, but we also want to hold on to the good. So maybe you create memory lists for the seasons of life that you're nostalgic for. Maybe you create favorites lists, your favorite books from childhood, your favorite movies to watch with your kids, your favorite foods that remind you of your family, right? Things that can help you hold on to those moments in your life that mattered so much to you. And one last category that is related to personal growth, but I think is a little bit broader, and that's just a forward-thinking kind of mentality. I urge you to create a list of wishes for you, for your life, for your family, your friends, for the world. I urge you to create a bucket list of things you might want to do and be and accomplish. And you might even think about making a traits list, a list of character traits that you want to embody in this new season so that you can refer to it and remind yourself that this is the direction that your soul wants to go in. There literally is a list for every current mood, and there is literally a list for every mood that you want to be. And so your challenge for this week from me to you is to choose one. Choose one list that is speaking to you, that has sparked something in you, and give it a try. Give it a try in your notebook, on a sticky note, on a random scrap of paper, and see what it does to your mental health. See what it does to your physical well-being, and see how this restorative list making could be just the thing you need. Now, if you are inside my Substack private community, then more listing fun is coming your way with some guided list making soon, and hopefully a little special guest. Um, but regardless, I would love for you to just try some list making this week and let me know how it goes. If you're in my community, you can share inside of our Substack. You can get ready for that guided list making tutorial and get your notebooks ready to go. And if you're not in my private Substack yet, find me on social media. Tell me in that audio recording button inside your favorite podcast platform, or just send me an email at stephanieaffinito@gmail.com and let me know which list, which kind of restorative list making is resonating with you. It is my hope that this very accessible, very effective form of restorative writing could be just what you need this month as you perhaps celebrate your solitude, your renegotiation, and your redefinition of that word as we head into this new fall season together. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned on the episode in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Substack community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, bibliotherapy book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and much more. It's only $5 a month, and you'll get instant access to all of the previous content, too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a bookish friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and notebookish communities, too. Thanks for listening.